Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Depends when you're watching this video. This is Mr. Argueta coming to you week number 3 in Principles of Supply Chain Management. So this week, I just wanted to give you an update in regards to how we're doing as a class, what we've done, what's happening, and of course, what's coming up ahead. So first and foremost, thank you for all the discussion. There was a couple people that emailed me regarding my feedback, and the first part of a lot of the feedback that you read was a generalized feedback to the whole class. I wanted to make sure we're on the same page. I'm not sure like how you've utilized AI in the past, but I want to give you a opportunity to understand how we expect it here and in the real workplace what happens. So I want to give you an example. I do a lot of reading of cover letters and resumes, and many of you I've read were gonna basically finish your degree here in the fall. Congratulations to all of you who have accomplished that. There's people from all sorts of business here, marketing, accounting. So welcome aboard to everyone, of course, and more importantly, I wanted to give you sort of an update on what I see. I didn't want to put anyone on blast here, so I didn't want to show you in our discussion what I mean, but I want to give you an example of what happens with AI. AI essentially is a software, guys. It's not a person thinking. It's a software predicting what comes next. That's the most basic term of what happens in AI. It looks for things that are similar, and it predicts what you're looking for. So what ends up happening when you run even your own work through AI, and what I mean by having an authentic voice, what I'm trying to ask you to do is don't just copy and paste AI. Always verify and clean up, because AI, as I mentioned, is only predicting what's next. So if you were to go to our discussion and read, I am not accusing you guys of prompting only AI. I would have given you a 0 if it's a prompt, and a prompt explains. It cannot create something that you experience. It explains our topic, and I can tell right away because of the structure, the format, that it's AI. And when you run it through AI, what it does, it'll begin extremely similar to everyone else's post because everyone's doing the same thing. Even if you wrote your own sort of discussion post, it'll copy everyone else's. For example, I'll give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. So a couple of weeks ago, our discussion was dealing, let me pull it up real quick. Our discussion was dealing on how supply management impacts your daily life. And in the discussion, when you go in, you'll see AI sort of repeated itself almost identically. It could use different formats. You could even try to humanize it, but the structure is still the same. And what that does is it takes your personal story and it makes it artificial. So for example, the discussions start very similar, like logistics and supply chain management affects my daily life. Logistics and supply management affects every part of my life. Supply chain management and logistics are part of everyday life. Logistics and supply management has a huge impact in my life. And it goes on. Logistics and supply management plays a big role in my life. Logistics and supply management are foundational. So unfortunately, even if you didn't use AI, this is so systematic that it's almost like reading a robot. And I can go on. There's probably 20 of our, whatever we have here, 30 students, where it starts the same. Now I can tell when it's not you, because even if you ran it through AI and you're attempting to keep your own voice, you wrote your post out, you ran through AI to correct your mistakes, read it, make sure that it's still you authentically, that it's only correcting your grammar. It's not rewriting it for you, because when it rewrites it for you, it's going to do this 100% of the time because it's software. It doesn't understand. Even if you tell it, reply to my discussion post and include this, it's going to structure it the same. So what I'm asking for is an authentic conversation. It's an authentic story of yours personally. It gives you an idea that you understand what's happening. It lets me know you understand what we're talking about. Let's be honest here. And I know that the resources are available for you online to be able to figure out the test, figure out all the assignments that are thrown at you. But the discussion is something I highly value because I can hear your voice. But when I'm getting this, it's almost like it's pointless. It makes no sense. And that's not what the point of the discussion should be. It should be me interacting with you, you interacting with me, and you guys interacting with each other in an actual discussion of this. So in this week, week 3, we have another discussion. And as I said, this is important for me because as an instructor, I want to know that you understand the concept behind this discussion. This discussion deals with launching an app and some of the challenges within supply chain management. And of course, when you think of an app, you're really thinking technology. You're not really thinking it's a project of supply chain management, but it is. There's an operation process to it. I had a friend a few years ago. He's a master technician, come up to me and say, I'm thinking of launching an app. Can you connect me with a coder? And of course I could. We can find a million of them. As a matter of fact, AI can code it now. So it's easy to do that part of it. The challenge isn't that. So the challenge isn't creating the app and looking at it from a technological perspective, because there's tons of resource available to do that. The challenge is the operations process. And what I mean by that is going through the main steps of the process. Of course, you have the idea development, which he did, and kind of design what is it that we're trying to accomplish, the mission, the vision, all that good stuff. What you would consider to be sort of your business plan, and then the process design, how it works, so coding and developing the app, all of that is good. When we come to testing, I saw a student already posted, and that person focused on testing and debugging will be a challenge for them. And you're right, because when you're sending the app out, they're using tons of different types of technology. They're either computer-based or CP-based or like telephone-based, and the telephones can be a million different versions of those and series of those and updates that they have. So there's a lot to deal with there. Of course, security and all that plays a big role into there. Losing private information like credit cards, you don't want to be caught in that. So you're doing all these testing. But in my view, with this particular app, the challenge was mechanic onboarding. How do we get technicians, mechanics to onboard? And the concept of the app, the idea of the app was to connect people that needed car repairs with mechanics or technicians that would be able to do it at the time that the person wanted. Now, this isn't going to be a bidding app. This will be more of like, hey, here's my problem. My car's acting up and this is what it's doing. You can record a video, take a picture. You can give me the details. You can give me all that stuff. Send it to the available technicians that were online and be able for them to look at it and say, yeah, this is something I can do in 2 hours and here's how much it would cost you. And they can all submit a proposal to the owner of the car. The problem I see is that mechanics might not want to do that. They might be working at a shop. They might not have a mobile tool set up. They might not have that. But so finding those, you got to have a portion of recruitment to find those people to come, sort of set of profiles, if you may, in the app. And you have to have that before you launch it to the customers. The second part is, how do you reach your customer base? And for my marketing people, what's the marketing mix? What am I going to do to get people to trust me that these mechanics have been vetted, they're good? And of course, the other challenge and bottleneck I think that most likely would happen is sort of testing the field, like seeing if these people are going to get along, if the mechanic shows up on time. These are 1099 individuals. So for my finance people, my accounting people, you will recognize a 1099. They're not my employees. They're self-contracted. So they don't have to follow my rules, even though I can put that on my list of things that you have to do. You got to show up on time. You got to be polite. You got to do that. They're on their own. They're 1099 people. They're contractors. So the bottleneck is, how do you manage technicians, mechanics that are out in the field. What if they do something wrong? Where does the liability fall in? Those are some of the things that you have to ask. So the purpose of this conversation is for you to think through the process, lay it out, and tell me what your app, not an app, your app will be challenged with. Where are the challenges of that? Other than that, guys, I appreciate your patience with everything. Thank you for your responses. Thank you for your authenticity. That's important to me. I understand that all the other stuff that you're doing, I don't want to call it busy work, but it's stuff that you can figure out. I'm not too worried about that. I'm more worried about what I know will be a challenge, will be this having an educated discussion over a topic because you understand it. That makes sense to me. The other thing I wanted to bring up and what to expect is on week number 8, you're going to be doing or you should be already started. Hopefully you're getting started now for your capstone class, or for your capstone project, excuse me. The capstone project really entails summarizing all of this stuff. So if you're not sort of getting started, it's going to be very difficult to do it in a week. I put out the rubric yesterday. I want you to understand that I take this seriously. On the discussions, I read every single post. I review every single post. So that's an easy grade to do. When it comes to the final capstone project, you're looking at 1,000 points. That's a big portion of your grade. I think there's like 5,000 and some change in total pointage. So 1,000 really impacts your grade quite a bit. I would start working on that right away. If you need help, please feel free to reach out. Email me. If you desperately need me to set up some time with you, I'll be more than happy to do that. But I want to make sure that you're ready and know exactly what you're doing in regards to that capstone project. It's important for you to get started as soon as possible. Other than that, guys, last week I got to go visit my mom in Chicago, spent some time with her, went out to eat to some good places, had a great time out there, got to take her out and do some stuff. This weekend, today is Thursday, 9:32 in the morning. I'm going to finish up some work and then go pack. We're going to go and visit some friends that live in Dallas, and excited to just enjoy the summer. I know you guys are taking classes and it consumes some time, but I hope you're getting the opportunity to rest and enjoy the summer before your summer semester. Once again, for those of you who are graduating in the fall, congratulations. That's a big step. I think I mentioned this already. I'm an alumni. I know the feeling of going through that stage. It's such a great feeling. It's something that no one can take away from you. I mentioned this before. When my son graduated, I sent him a message, and I truly believe this. I come from a background where my parents had minimal education in their country. So coming here and being able to reach the levels of education that I've been able to accomplish is because they sacrificed something. And seeing my son and my daughter both finish their undergrad and now looking at master's degrees, that's something no one can take away from us. No one can take away our knowledge. So I encourage you to continue your education. I encourage you to move on as far as you can. I know it's tough. I know it's tedious. I know sometimes you want to just give up, but don't. Keep going, keep plugging away. It's worth it. You're going to make a huge difference, not only in your life, but in the life of those around you. Once again, if you need anything, please let me know. In the meantime, guys, have a great cup of coffee. Stay hydrated, and we'll see you next time in our discussion post.